What's up, everybody? Jason Swenk here with another episode of the Smart Agency Masterclass, a podcast dedicated to the agency owner that wants to scale and create the freedom in their agency that they've always wanted. And today I have an amazing guest. I have one of my good friends, Colorful Carl, and we're going to talk about AI and how this can help out creatives, how this can help agency owners. And we're just going to kind of jam. And so welcome to the show, Carl.
Hey man, thanks for having me. Yeah, happy to be here and chew it up with you and talk about all the cool stuff in the agency space these days. The whole industry is getting wild out there. So
Yeah, it's kind of like the Wild Wild West. But before we begin, tell us who you are and what do you do?
cool. Yeah. So my name is Carl Cleanthes, aka Colorful Carl. That's my artist moniker handle, if you will, on the internet. I started and founded a company called Epic Made in 2006. So we're a digital art and animation studio. We do most of our work in the entertainment and advertising space. We are getting more and more into the space and NFTs and all that sort of stuff, which has been a lot of fun. Working on PFP collections and things like that. But in the past we've done advertising assets and social media assets for Sci-Fi and Nickelodeon, Nick Jr., USA, WWE, doing some stuff with Shopify now with one of our one of our friends, Lisa, who's been on the show before. So just having a lot of fun out there and doing cool stuff. So that's what I've been doing my whole life, and figuring out a way to make money on my passions, which has been a lovely experience.
Yeah, and when you were at the digital agency experience with me and your horse was stalking my horse and we were chatting, like Carl is like one of the most interesting people. Like he makes his own leather hides and makes everything. Like when you talk about creative, he is the creative. That's why I'm wearing my old grandfather's hat, like, or maybe I wear it this way, right? I'd like it backwards,
Yeah,
honestly,
I love it. I love it.
but let's go ahead and talk about AI and how this
Okay.
is helping out creatives, how this is helping out agency owners. I've been experimenting with it for a little while, and I've been blown away on the stuff. So tell us kind of what's your thought?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a complicated, layered situation, right? On one side, on the business, so I have multiple hats here I wear, in life, but on the business side, it really is a tool for massive productivity, and depending on AI has been around for forever, but what's really hitting center stage that people are excited about and blown away by is this machine learning aspect of AI. So pumping in a data set of information of things created from human beings, trying to interpret as a human would what you're requesting from it, and then outputting something that should be along the lines of what you're expecting. And the ability of it to do that is getting better and better and better. ChatGPT has blown up. It has broken every single record you could possibly think of in terms of like adoption rates and people, downloading and using the software. And you don't even have to download; you just log in and create an account. Been wild, like crushed Facebook, crushed Instagram, crushed Snapchat, all the wreck, blew them away. And it is because it's so intuitive, right? Like you posted some things in the Slack earlier, but like the ability for you to drop an idea in there and it to really give you something that's quite good, in some cases amazing, that you don't even need to edit. It's crazy. So yeah, productivity through the roof.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's going to replace what we do. I'm like, no, well, if you're dumb, yeah, maybe. But I think it's going to make us way more efficient. Like, for example, the other day I was writing an email. I was like, man, I'm kind of, like creatives, we kind of get this writer block, or we kind of get this block where we're like, what's the first stroke on that we need to kind of do? And I was like, give me some ideas for blah, blah, blah. And it go, and then I'm like, well, I don't really like those. Give me more ideas, but make it in a funny way. And then it gave me some ideas. And then I was able to not just copy and paste, because I think if you copy and paste, you're going to miss out. And I think you're going to be,
Yeah.
it's going to be like someone else's stuff. Like you have to morph it your own. But the thing I've been really impressed about is there's so many different tools for creating thumbnails, for like we were messing around. You did an amazing picture of Aspen, my dog, and like we were starting to mess up, like generate like German shepherds from this AI tool and then kind of layer on stuff. It's pretty amazing.
It really is. So, you know, it's like you said, right? The AI, in my mind, it can't fully replace people. I think what it's going to do, it definitely hurts the bottom of the market, right? Like a lot of people that, you know, yeah, the fiber level market is going to get trashed by these AI technologies and machine learning, because it doesn't make sense for someone to spend money on something when they can do it themselves now pretty easily, just iterating. But like you said, you have to adapt it. Like the AI is not going to be innovative. It's not going to come up with ideas that no one else has. You have to do that with your experience and layer that into the machine and utilizing it as a tool. Like all tools that have ever existed have basically taken something that was hard and made it easier and faster, right? Like that's the point of a tool. Like, so there's a layer of that. There's a whole bunch of controversy on the flip side, especially in the image generation side, which is something that I've been working with the Graphic Artist Guild about, trying to figure out the ethical use of this. There's a lot of issues with the way the data set was created by scraping the internet without the consent of some of the people whose copyrighted images ended up in there, and training this AI how to create things. And then some people, there's trolls and everywhere on the internet, right? So people have done a lot of things to target artists and try to attack them, and artists in themselves are already um, a marginalized profession for how high of a skill level they have. I almost would argue that there isn't a more marginalized, highly skilled profession out there, where it's just like, oh, well, art is superfluous. It doesn't really matter. It's this erroneous thing, and we don't need it. But it's like, if you take away the art from anything, you lose the culture immediately. It becomes utilitarian, and no one's interested in it. It doesn't really matter. So
Yeah.
that's my
What are
soapbox.
what are some tools that you use? Because there's some agency owners listening here are going, I really haven't investigated, or maybe I've heard. I mean, if you're an agency owner and you haven't heard about ChatGPT, like you're living under a rock. But I think
Totally.
everybody just thinks that's kind of the first AI tool. But like, there's so many other amazing AI tools out there that can help us be more efficient. What are some that you use?
Yeah, so I use, the first one that comes to mind is Firefly's AI, but there's also like Otter AI. These are AI bots that join your meetings. They record the entire meeting. They transcribe the entire meeting. They will make a point of all the questions, and then like follow up items, and automatically email that out to everybody just based on the conversation, which is insanely powerful. So much productivity added into that, and that is taking away what would be someone's role, essentially. Like a human being would have to sit there and like take notes and go boom boom boom. So that we play with Midjourney, Dolly a little bit. There's a few other ones on the image gen side, and it is like you said, like we're working on a PFP project right now, where we need 20 different types of like fantasy creature hats, so like, all right, well, let's just see what that comes up with, and just sparking ideas. Like, we're not actually using the pixels from there, but what we're doing is saying, okay, this scraped the entire internet for fantasy wizard hat and amalgamated some cool ideas. So this is essentially what the world on the internet is expecting from a wizard hat in a fantasy game. So we're going to adapt some of those
Yeah.
ideas, because you don't ever want to be too derivative of what you're trying to accomplish. Otherwise, it won't relate. So I think it's a great way to kind of scrape the web and go, oh, this is what's out there. And this is what collectively the people think this is, based
Yeah.
on the art that it input. So
Yeah, there was one I was
that one's
looking.
cool.
Yeah, there was one I was looking at that does something very similar to what you were saying about the note taking. Does yours work with Zoom?
Yeah, it works with Zoom,
Okay.
Google Meets, all that. Yep.
Yeah,
And so,
that's pretty cool. I mean, think about. I mean, I just want people to think about how many times you meet with your team and your clients over Zoom, and then if you
yeah,
had that tool do everything, like you said, how much more efficient are you? You're kind of getting back a lot of your time. Like we had in the agency mastery the other day, we had Dan Martell, who has an amazing book. He did a workshop for all the members about buying back your time. And like those hacks get more time where you can concentrate on the things you really need to be doing.
monstrous. Yeah, absolutely. That one's huge. And then, like you said, ChatGPT, NeuroFlash, Jasper, all these ones that help with copywriting and just kind of spicing up your emails. Just getting you like I used ChatGPT a few days ago to put together a letter of intent. And literally, it saved me what would have taken me an hour and a half to write something really nice and beautiful. I popped it in there twice, got two different ideas, cut those together, rewrote parts of it for 15, 20 minutes, and saved myself an hour of time,
Yeah.
which is amazing, and it was probably better than I would have done by myself. So,
Yeah. Yeah, there's other pages or there's things out there for building landing pages, building thumbnails.
oh
Like
yeah,
I've seen ones for websites where literally you go, create me a shoe website for X, Y, and Z. I've even seen ones that are iPhone apps where you can, like, if you're, let's say you're an agency that does product marketing, it literally, you can take your iPhone, go around the subject by taking all these photos.
yep.
It will literally create you a 3D model.
I have seen those, and they work for printing too. I've seen someone scan in the Athena Nike statue in Greece and then print a model out from just their phone scan, which is wild. And that was 7 years ago, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Um, it's really cool stuff. Another one just popped in my head. It just escaped me though. I'm sure it'll come back.
Yeah.
Really major productivity tools for sure.
Yeah. What this has all been amazing, Carl. I've my whole point of this show or this episode is to make people aware and to start doing the research. Now you've been doing the research for a long time. Where's a good
Sure.
place to kind of start, or because by the time people probably listen to this podcast, the chat GBT is probably going to be full. Like literally today, like I went there to make it go do something and it was like, I'm too busy. I can't help you right now. And there's going to be other
Yeah.
tools. So where can people go to kind of experiment, or like, what was the first couple things you did?
So the first things I did was just start literally Google searching because I didn't know where to go either, and I haven't seen like a dedicated podcast or any really good consistent space that this information has really kind of been amalgamated into yet. I don't, is that the right word? I think so. Uh, but yeah, so I mean, for me, it's been a lot of just like doing Google research. There's stuff on Twitter. Twitter's an interesting space, but yeah, like you said, Chat GPT has been bogged down, but frankly there's other software out there that's as good. Like I said, I was using NeuroFlash for quite a while. I think they're based out of the UK, maybe Germany. They're all their pricing's in euros. But yeah, they're a really good company too, and like I said, Jasper's really good. I've tried that a bit. And there's just several other
Yeah.
legs. Like there's so many different ways that this is all being utilized. I've seen it data scrape for different marketing campaigns. There's one I saw Microsoft producing that's really quite cool. They're calling it the Canva killer, that has basically everything Canva does, but also now it's going to image generate as well and all work at the same
Well,
time.
I heard Canva's actually putting AI to their system
Oh,
as
of course,
well. I
of
mean, I
course,
guess they would have to. I mean, think about what
you got to
Canva,
stay
like we were
relevant.
talking about that last night of what Canva has actually done. Like, especially for someone like me that I used to be really into Photoshop. And then when I got out
Right.
of, when I sold well, many years before I sold the agency, I had a lot better designers doing all this stuff, for me. And then I kind of get out of it and I'm like, oh, I don't remember. Like, I only remember Control T. Like, that was my favorite function. I was like,
It's a fantastic function.
oh yeah, it's awesome. Now I get on Canva, I'm like, okay, I can create this, and I don't have to worry about all the other crap I need to learn and all this new software. So it's really pretty
Yeah.
cool.
I think the core of AI is taking human beings and making them more productive, more creative, and allowing them to execute their ideas faster on a higher level. And that's basically where this is all coming together.
Yeah.
And honestly, TikTok is huge in terms of like where I've done a good amount of research. I know it sounds weird and funny, but it's really like there's so much educational information on TikTok to learn almost anything. And the way the content is digested into bite-sized pieces of information, it's really easy to learn there. And the algorithm trains itself pretty quickly to know like, hey, I'm looking for more creative tools or AI tools or whatever you're into, and it starts feeding you that really fast. So if you
That's
haven't
pretty
played
cool.
around on TikTok, because I know people, I guess 35 plus are kind of leery of TikTok still, probably in terms of like, oh, not just for kids dancing, but it's really not. So
Yeah, it's not musically anymore.
no, it's not. It's not.
Awesome. Well, where can people find you, Carl?
Yeah, yeah. So colorfulcarl.com. From there there's links to Epic Made, links to my personal NFT Web3 studio, Cleanthes Studios, my weekly live stream I do. All that stuff's on there. So
Awesome. Well, cool. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show. And if you guys enjoyed this episode and you want to kind of turn your agency burden into an asset where it creates freedom, predictability, and wealth for you, I mean, rather than creating that prison around you, I want all of you to go to, and this is a totally new brand. It's called agencymastery360.com. Go there now. We're getting rid of our mastermind. That's dead. I hate masterminds anymore. I think anybody that wants to join a community, they should all be focused on one, two, or three things and mastering those. That's why we've created it as Agency Mastery. Go there and we get to hang out with Colorful Carl. He'll make you do a lot of drinking games around NFTs, which is a side note. But go there now. And until next time, have a swank day.